Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Keith here from Commander Hoop Celtic. So, if this is your first time viewing the channel, I'd recommend subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, or even a comment below would be really appreciated. So, we're here to talk about the vacant role, the Celtic manager's role, the talking points for the last 6 weeks at this rate, even beyond that. Before that, we were being talking about who should be the next manager to rebuild this team, to get us back to winning the title next season, getting us back being a competitive edge, even in domestic football against the lower tier teams. How embarrassing does this even sound to even talk about? So this week, the last 7 days, there's been a lot of talk of Eddie Howe and Roy Keane being linked to the job. There's reports that Roy Keane had initial talks with Celtic, that he's interested with the role. And then there's been talks of Eddie Howe that was so-called spotted in Glasgow last week, checking into the Radisson Hotel. There was no truth behind that. Just to let you know, there was no confirmed. There's a couple of Twitter stuff, but we don't always go what says what happens on Twitter. So I'm sick of this teeth talking about it. To be honest, I'd just rather be over and done with, because it's gone on too long, well too long for a club of Celtic stature. Why is it taking too long? Is it a case that the board can't give this manager, the next manager, the funds that they want, the project they want to attract them in, and give them the belief that this is a massive club, that we're going in the right direction? Because Dermot Desmond came out last week with his Q&A all over Instagram and Facebook saying that Lawwell, Dominic McCoy and Ian Bankier are looking at this recruiting process and it should be happening sooner or later than ever. But yeah, we're still here a week later, no clarity where we're going as a club. The international break is about to end soon. We're going to go back into Scottish Cup action and league action. Still don't know where we're going as a club, and John Kennedy is still in there, and it still feels like Neil Lennon soap opera football. That's what it feels like. You can see on the pitch. I know we got a draw against Rangers, which we could have beat them, but at the end of the day, it's a draw. So Roy Keane, would I take Roy Keane? I've said this many times. I think he can bring a lot different to Celtic than other managers. He's very old fashioned. He's one of these boot room managers that would obviously eat the head off you if things weren't going right. I think if you get the right number two in there with Roy Keane, like a Martin O'Neill, or even Martin O'Neill as a director of football, I think it would work out as a success. Anyone else like the likes of Nicky Butt that was linked with it, don't know if he's gone to Derby yet, but I would accept Roy Keane. He's not my first choice. He's not my first choice in the heart. I think there's better qualified managers out there that we could get. And the next one I'm going to talk about is Eddie Howe. I'm a massive fan of Eddie Howe. Always have been a massive fan of Eddie Howe. What he done for Bournemouth to get them to the level that they were was unremarkable. You know, remarkable stuff. Winning League One, getting into the Championship, getting promoted to the Premier League, being in the Premier League for 5 years. Yes, they got relegated last season, but that stay in that league for so long was an achievement in themselves. For a club like Bournemouth, not a massive stature of fans, 15,000 I think that stadium holds. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Eddie Howe, I think there is a promising thing with Eddie Howe. He knows to get the best out of players. He's young, he's enthusiastic, he's 43. He's been around the game, almost 10 years now in management and football. So give him the job. I think he's the right candidate for the job. I think give him a 3-year contract, give him the funds, let him work with the club, let him work with the youth, because at the moment our youth system's declining. So many players are moving on to other clubs because they don't think they're going to make it at Celtic. They don't think they're going to get into the first team, and that's down to the club, the way it's being ran. It's not down to the managers that are trying to get in. It's down to the club being just absolutely brutal. So Eddie Howe, number one. Enzo Maresca, another one that a lot of people keep throwing at me. Man City 23's coach, worked with Pellegrini's, worked with Pep, some great coaches. Would I take him? No. No, I don't think he's done enough in the game to encourage me to think that he's the man. I just feel like it's a stepping stone job for him to get back into it. And I think a lot of managers think it will be a stepping stone, similar to what happened with Brendan Rodgers. You know, Celtic are need at the moment to rebuild their team, to come back stronger, not to be embarrassed next season. I don't think Maresca would know Celtic that much to be confident for the fans to believe that he can turn it around. So definitely not. Gonna go through a few names here on the betting one. Thierry Henry's been linked with a job, 33-1. Outre, phenomenal footballer for Arsenal. I was in Celtic Park in 2008 when he scored against us when we got beaten 3-2. I don't think he's good enough for the job. Out straight, I just think he's made a shambles when he was at Monaco and Montreal. Montreal didn't do great in the MLS with him in charge, so definitely not. Look at a lot of fans, a lot of Irish fans will never forget the handball. I know it's international football to sell, it's completely different, but you'll never be forgotten. I don't think he suits the personality as he is. I don't think he suits Celtic. I think I'd be irritated listening to him in press conferences. Like even when I watch him on Sky, I don't think he's my cup of tea. So definitely not Henry. As I said, phenomenal player. You have to respect as a player. He was unbelievable. Definitely not Thierry Henry. Every Celtic fan, I put the post today, said not a chance. Let's move on. Carlos Queiroz, 9-1. Now Carlos Queiroz has a good CV. Obviously, he worked in the Portuguese job. He's worked at the Real Madrid job. The Real Madrid job was a shambles. Sir Alex Ferguson's number 2 for many years at United. Would I take him? No, definitely not. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's at the standards. Jess Marsh, which was being linked, Salzburg's manager, really good job. I think he's doing a decent job at Red Bull Salzburg. Obviously getting them to the Champions League last season, played against the likes of Liverpool and stuff like that. Yeah, I would. I think he'd be exciting potential. He's linked. He's at the moment. He's at 12-1, but he did come out and say that he's not vacant in the summer to move away from Salzburg. So that's the kick in the nuts for us there. Alex Neil. Look, Alex Neil's done decent with Preston North End. Got them to a couple of playoffs and stuff like that, but he hasn't really gone any further with the club. He hasn't moved up to that extra level, and that's why I don't think he's good enough for Celtic. Out straight. Martin O'Neill, 20-1. Look, we all know who Martin O'Neill is. The great iconic manager that got us a treble as well, with the likes of Rodgers and Jock Stein and Neil Lennon. Treble managers. Martin O'Neill, he's nearly 70 years of age now. Does he still have it? Obviously, he went on Nottingham Forest, the last role with Roy Keane, didn't really work out for him. Disappointing last campaign with Ireland as well. Unfortunate not getting to the World Cup. Would I take him? Martin O'Neill? No, I don't think. I think Martin had his time at Celtic, good legacy at Celtic. Definitely wouldn't take him back. Look, as a director of football, yes, but not as a manager. No. Rafa Benitez, 25-1. Rafa Benitez, remarkable manager. What he's done in football, world football, win the Champions League with Liverpool, done well with Napoli, done well with Inter Milan. Bit of a shambles job at Real Madrid, won Europa League with Valencia and Chelsea. Easy experience. He obviously worked in China as well. Rafa and Eddie Howe would be my favourites, but I don't think Celtic have enough to track Rafa. Rafa is holding out for a job in England. That's what the story is with Rafa Benitez. I don't think he wants to come to Scottish football. I don't think Celtic had the calibre to offer him the type of funding to get players he wants in. You look and see what happened with Newcastle. Mike Ashley penny pinched him. Rafa didn't have much to spend at Newcastle. I think it was altogether of his tender. Newcastle was, I think it was 25 million he got to spend in that 4 years he was at Newcastle. Steve Clarke being linked with the job. Look, Steve Clarke's doing a great job at Scotland at the moment. Successful getting them into the Euros, first competition since 1998. Would I take Steve Clarke at Celtic? Very defensive minded. Might be something different for Celtic fans. He's not my cup of tea. Definitely not. No, but if it was come to a case this morning or tomorrow and he's appointed as a manager at the end of the Euros, even though it's only like a gap of 10 days from the end of the Euros until the season kicks off, I think it'd be a very disappointing recruitment by Celtic. It really would. So definitely not. I'm going to move on to another few more managers. Damien Duff, 40-1. Duffer, we all know what Duffer coaching staff at Celtic with Neil Lennon and John Kennedy done a good job. He moved on, went to the Ireland fall, didn't work out. Obviously there was a lot of controversy going on with the FEI. He stepped away from the role. I'd like to see him come back. If it was Damien Duff, if it was Roy Keane, Damien Duff as assistant and Martin O'Neill as director of football, that would be the oil day recruitment. If we can't get Eddie Howe or Rafa, I think that would be definitely like to see him in. Jack Ross, look at Jack Ross has done well with Hibs. They're on the verge of getting third place this season. I don't think he's enough calibre in his CV to get the Celtic job, no offence. A lot of people have thrown this one at me as well. Henrik Larsson, the King of Kings. Henrik Larsson's currently obviously assistant manager to Ronald Koeman at Barcelona. I don't want Henrik Larsson's reputation of being the king of the kings being tarnished if he comes in here and he doesn't do the job right. Definitely not. I could just feel like there's an Alan Shearer nightmare in there, to be honest, to happen with Henrik Larsson, especially in a rebuilding structure. If everything was green and we were dominating and we were winning every cup and we had a good transfer budget and players were on top form and we weren't rebuilding for next season, yeah, give Larsson the job, but definitely not. Andre Villas-Boas, former Marseille manager. Look at Villas-Boas has managed some good clubs like Tottenham, Chelsea, Zenit St. Petersburg. Villas-Boas, very young, he's been around the game a long time. I would take him there, but he wouldn't be in my top 5. Like he is good calibre there. He's worked with in some big clubs. His English is great. He could track some good players from the Premier League, so I wouldn't be disappointed with that. Andrei Shevchenko, Ukrainian manager. We all know what Shevchenko, an absolute icon for AC Milan. Is he done enough in the Scottish? Will be done enough to go into the Scottish game? Had a brief spell at Chelsea in his career. Definitely not. No, wouldn't know. Sean Dyche, 40-1. I'm a fan of Sean Dyche. Obviously, hasn't worked with a decent budget at Burnley. He's been at Burnley, 6 years or 7 years? I think got a couple of promotions, couple of relegations with Burnley, got them into the European place in the Premier League. Yeah, why not? He's very defensive, very similar to Steve Clark, but he's a firehouse. I wouldn't mind Sean Dyche. If Celtic approached him, got him out of his contract with Burnley, I just think he's achieved what he could have with Burnley with the budget he's been on. So I wouldn't mind him. Sean Maloney, 50-1. Sean Maloney. If you're gonna get Sean Maloney and you're going in for Roberto Martinez, you get Roberto Martinez after Euros with Sean Maloney, and we're talking there's a duo that would be absolutely class at Celtic. I think that would work at Celtic. Sean Maloney knows the club inside out, playing for the club, coaching capacity at the club. Obviously he's working with Martinez in the Belgian fold for a couple of years now. Ranked one of the best teams in the world. Think it would be really good to see him getting in. Anyone else that's linked with it? Funny enough, I know Paddy Power taking the piss with this one. Scott Brown, 50-1. Let Scott Brown go off and do his thing at Aberdeen. Let him develop as a coach, and then we'll talk in about 5 years' time to Scott Brown. You know, Malky McCoy, 33-1. No offense, Malky McCoy hasn't done enough in recent times to get the job. Anyone else here that we can think of? That's really it, folks. Really it. If there's names that haven't really thrown the mix at you, let me know. But yeah, that's really it. I can see. Look, there's going to be names going to be attracted to the Celtic job, that link to the Celtic job. But realistically, Eddie Howe, Roy Keane are in the midst of getting it now. If we can get one of them over the line, I can accept it. As I said, Roy Keane, he hasn't managed in a while. He's been around the Ireland setup and the Villa setup and the Forest setup. But it could be something, you got to take a gamble. Regardless who comes in, we're going to have fans moaning, saying, oh, we shouldn't have got this person. Oh, we're not happy with this person. And we're all tied to our opinions. We're Celtic fans. So hit the subscribe button. Let us know what you think. I'll be back soon. I'll be doing who I think should be gone out of the club in the summer. And I'll take care. I'll see you all soon. Hell, the Celts. Here we go.